All right, let's get back into politics here in the District 1 congressional race. We've been saying from the beginning that this is the best chance we've probably had ever to take that seat back away from G.K. Butterfield and the Democrats. G.K. is not running, but there are 8 Republicans in that race, 2 of them, 2 Sandys and 2 Robersons. And we've got Sandy Smith, we've got Sandy Roberson. You also have Brent Roberson, who I understand is going to be on with Tom Lamprecht this afternoon. But the 2 Sandys have been going at it. They've both lawyered up. Sandy Smith has hired a law firm in Raleigh and sent what is called a takedown notice to Sandy Roberson saying, take down your ads that claim that she has bankruptcies and domestic violence, unpaid taxes, some arrests in her past. And now Warden Smith has been hired by Sandy Roberson. And Sandy Roberson is now on the telephone with us, the mayor of Rocky Mount, to respond to this latest volley. Good morning, Mayor Roberson. How are you?
Good morning, Henry. How are you doing today?
Thank you for your willingness to come on. We have invited Sandy Smith to come on to answer the charges, and she has not taken that opportunity. So I'm glad that you took a moment with us this morning to kind of get to it. Let me go through some of these things that Sandy Smith is saying about you and give you a chance in her ads that you want taken off the air. And now you've hired a lawyer to say that she had 24 hours to respond, which I guess is sometime around noon today, right?
I think that's right. I'm not actually managing that personally, but yes.
So she's talking about the shootings and the murders in your town under your leadership, saying that you've provided poor leadership. How do you respond?
Well, absolutely. That's just not true. I mean, if I could prevent crime, you betcha I would. What we have done, though, is been proactive as shootings have occurred and these other violent acts have occurred, called a special meeting. Chief has assembled a task force to really try to address the challenges. I call it really more of a run of bad luck than anything else, but nonetheless, it is something that needs to stop, and we're being proactive and we're being upfront about what we're doing and communicating that with our citizenry. And, that's what I call leadership, is understanding when you have challenges and taking it by the horns and trying to wrestle it down to the ground.
She also gets into this, and we've had the state auditor, Beth Wood, on to talk about the audit that she did on Rocky Mount. She talks about how there's corruption on the city council, that one of the city council members got $1 million in unpaid utility bills, and that has happened under your leadership. So respond to that one.
So, you and I were on the phone after that audit. That audit really took place prior to my even becoming mayor. In fact, I'll argue that that's the reason I did get elected mayor. It's because we had those challenges and folks were looking for somebody to come in and willing to try to help. I've been very, very instrumental in working with Lisa Barnes to try to create Senate Bill 473, and she really championed that all the way through the line. And I really do appreciate that. But that's what's created a new law for transparency. It creates a Class H felony for anybody in local government taking advantage of. Now, the $1 million, I really just don't even understand that. I think she might be talking about the traditional practice that we do just as accounting firm, as accounting practice in Rocky Mount and most cities. If it's not collectible, you write it down, but then you still continue to proceed to try to collect on that. So I think she's confused as it relates to the $1 million, but I know that there is no councilman that has been written off of $1 million, even in the most egregious of our situations.
Her ads also talk about $70,000 vacation that was taken to the Grove Park Inn in Asheville by the council, and I know that you've got something you want to say about that.
You bet. Well, first of all, we did. I mean, my city council did do that, and I protested and said, hey, guys, I think the optics on this are terrible. I think that we don't need to be spending this kind of money. Yet I was just, the council just voted to do it, and it happened. But I paid for that trip by myself for myself. So I did not spend a dime of city money on any trip to Asheville whatsoever. Be happy to show the receipts for anybody who wants to look at it. In fact, they should be part of the public record if you really had gone and done some digging. So it's just a simple untruth. And it wasn't just me. I know that Councilman Daughtridge also went on that trip and also paid for his own way. And there may have been others, but I know at least the two of us took that position.
So you're saying that you not only paid your own way on that trip, but in addition to that, you protested the other city council people having the city pay their way.
I did. I said, look, this is just not what we need to be doing, guys.
But you got, I mean, you're the mayor. Did you just get outvoted?
Well, unfortunately, the mayor doesn't even get a vote.
Oh, wow.
So all I can do is protest and say, guys, let's rethink this and maybe step back. But without a vote, it's very, very difficult to control the narrative.
All right. The Sandy Smith ads also talk about your personal business dealings. You own nursing homes, saying that you've had $45,000 in fines in nursing homes.
Actually, I don't own any nursing homes. I do have a company that manages nursing homes. We did take over a portfolio of facilities about a year ago, and the previous administration had generated some fines. And so I'm guessing that's what she's talking about. But what I do know is that every facility that we manage and or have, we do have some assisted livings that we have developed, are in good standing with, as it relates to the conditions of participation with all state, local, and federal regulators.
So is the charge that your company was fined $45,000 false?
It is.
It is false. Okay. All right. Some of the other.
Now, with that said, Henry, I also want to say that I think there may be a fine or two out there, but it's certainly nowhere at $45,000.
All right. Billy Strickland, one of the other candidates, is now running ads, taking some shots at you, talking about your previous donations to candidates, saying that you donated to the Democrat Attorney General Josh Stein. You want to respond to that?
Sure. I'll be happy to tell you I have, and I've in my business world often contributed to both candidates, just where it made sense economically for the business interests that we had. I also contributed to Buck Newton during that same race at a much larger rate, quite frankly. So the other thing he alleges is contributions to the Democratic Party, which are also true, but that was a fundraiser to our local Democratic Party to benefit a lady who's a resident of Rocky Mount who had been in a terrible, terrible motorcycle accident in Atlanta, Georgia, and they were raising funds to try to help the family go back and forth and to assist during that difficult period of time.
A lot of the letter from the lawyer to you on behalf of Sandy Smith deals with how you obtained a lot of the information on Sandy Smith, her bankruptcy, some of the domestic violence things, not really denying those things, but saying that you obtained them illegally and that you illegally published some private information on some of Sandy Smith's, like Social Security numbers and things like that. Love to hear your response on that.
Sure. Again, we contacted Warden Smith. They have reviewed the files. If there were any public personal information that had been out there, it's all been redacted, reposted. So, if in fact that happened, that's a challenge. And I'm apologetic for that, because certainly not trying to put anybody in any kind of difficult spot. However, how we obtained the information is she had an ex-husband who reached out to us, and we did some opposition research on her. And this is what came back, and we're just publishing basically the public information that we were able to access.
She's threatening to sue you over it. She's saying that she wants you to take these ads down. Your ads talk about her going bankrupt, that she had unpaid taxes, these domestic violence incidences. You claim that she hit one of her husbands with an alarm clock while he was asleep, one with a frying pan, tried to run over one with a car. Do you stand by all that?
Look, again, we did a third-party verification of this information, and what I'm reporting is what her ex-husband has reported to us. So I have to assume that they are truth tellers. I don't know how you prove that one way or the other. As for a lawsuit, Henry, I am not afraid of a lawsuit. That's what it comes down to.
Are you going to sue? Are you going to sue her if she doesn't take down these ads on you by noon, as your letter and the lawyer's letter states?
Let's cross that bridge when the time comes. I hate to make an affirmative statement, absolute, on the radio, but it is certainly in the wheelhouse of options.
And I will say this for people who don't know, in the state of North Carolina, there have been lawsuits. There's a high standard when it comes to defamation in a political campaign because you're now a public
Sure.
person. But the court can look at that and say, someone went too far.
Sure.
And then we've got that Boyce versus guess who, Roy Cooper case here in the state of North Carolina, where Roy Cooper was sued and lost for making false claims about his opponent when he was running for attorney general years ago.
Sure.
So
Sure.
it can happen, and there could be some could be some penalties going either way on this stuff, and so it's going to be interesting to see. The race has gotten nasty. Do you regret that, or are you happy that you're able to get this information out about Sandy Smith?
Well, I tell you, it was a long struggle. We sat on that information for quite a while, to tell you the truth, Henry, and struggling as to what to do with it. And where I finally shook out on it was, look, I am a Republican first, and what I want to see is a Republican candidate win. I knew that Democratic opposition had this information, and I knew that because her ex-husband told me that was the case. And so I'm thinking, well, this could be just absolutely devastating to our party should this come out in October, which it most likely would if she were to secure the nomination. And we need to get this information out now. Folks just need to be able to decide, the facts as they see them.
In fact, the Carolina Journal article, you may have been the source on this. This was while I was away in Florida last week, but Carolina Journal published an article saying that G.K. Butterfield's camp had this information and was when if he was running, he would have used it against Sandy Smith, and then now he's turned it over to the Democratic Party, and the Democrats are planning to use this against Sandy Smith if she were to win this. Were you the source on that Carolina Journal story, or did they get that information independent of you?
I don't know. I didn't personally deliver it. I just don't know. I can come back to you with an answer on that. But what I do know is that we had heard that same information from an ex-husband who had called us, that he had shared that with him. And was my understanding he actually had it the last cycle, and he was so not worried about Smith that he didn't even bother to use the information. Now, I may be wrong about that, but that was my understanding.
All right. Well, Mayor Roberson, we appreciate your openness and being willing to come on and explain it. I've said this before. I think if you're running for Congress and you're running to represent the people, that you have an obligation to come on and respond when asked and be willing to talk about anything in your past or anything that any of your behaviors or business dealings or anything. People need to know who you are. So I appreciate you being transparent this morning and being willing to do that.
Hey, thank you so much, Henry. I appreciate the opportunity. And, look, you guys have a great rest of the day. Sorry the concert's been postponed.
Yeah.
I know you've been looking forward to that. But anyway, maybe next time.
Yeah. All right, Sandy, thank you very much. We're looking forward to see what happens next week. We'll know next week at this time who wins that primary. 48 after, 12 in front of 9.